I will start with the MEDINA Self-Sovereign Identity Framework demo. My colleague Aitor from the teams will make the demo, but well, I will present just 2 slides as a reminder. Well, what is the SSI framework we propose in MEDINA? This is the way we provide the CAP, in this case, the Certificate Authority Board, to manage with security certificates. So for this purpose, we will have 3 main actors. We will have an issuer, this will be the one who will issue security certificates. This will be the CAP in our use case. We will also have the owner or the holder, both names are okay. And this will be the cloud service provider who receive security certificates from the CAP and will provide some kind of verifiable proofs for the third actor in the system, for the verifiers or for the potential clients who wants to verify the certificate status, for instance. For doing this, we use the blockchain layer for the secure record of the different actors' public keys in order to be able to correctly verify the signatures from the verifiable credentials, because they are signed by the CAP, and also the signatures from the verifiable proofs, because they are also signed by the owner. So we record this information in some decentralized identifier documents, that is the name, inside the blockchain. And this is the integration inside the complete MEDINA framework. The SSI system will be integrated with the lifecycle manager by means of a specific API. We have also developed. We are not going to see the API today because the system is not has not been integrated yet with the lifecycle manager. That is something we will do for the next release. So this demo will be is deployed completely at this moment on Tecnalia premises, just as a proof of concept. But the idea for the next release is to deploy the CAP and the client on Tecnalia's premises as they are now. But the CSP part, the CSP intelligence, should be part of the MEDINA framework and should be integrated on the complete MEDINA framework with the rest of the components and with the same key block, for instance, and whatever. So that is the main idea, and I give the floor to my colleague.
Well, okay, so I'm going to show a demo about the SSI framework that we have developed in Tecnalia. And particularly, I will show you the web application that the user can use to easily interact with this SSI framework. Okay, so whenever we connect to this URL, we might be redirected to this web page, so we can choose to which SSI agent we want to connect to. To start with the demo, I'm going to connect to the issuer and show you also that once I'm connected, I can check the status that the SSI, of the SSI backend. So we can check if everything is correctly, if, well, some technical data basically. But apart from this, the main, the main view of the dashboard of this web application is this one that you can see here. I will be I'll just present you the different tabs that you can see here. But first of all, if let's say an agent wants to interact with another one, first of all, we need a connection between these two parts. And for this, we have the invitations tab. Whenever we click on create invitation, a new invitation will be created and also copied to the clipboard. So we can copy this piece of information and transmit it using a secure method like, well, I don't know, an email and a Slack channel or wherever. So also we can like, well, it's a little bit small, so we can simply like use this QR code, so the other user can simply scan it. And basically it contains the same piece of information that we have copied to the clipboard. Okay, so then we have created an invitation, but we need to use it. For this, I will open another tab in the browser. Then I'm going to connect to the holder one, which is the agent that will have the credentials that will later on present to the verifier. And here we can see, that we have a connection with the verifier that I have already prepared, but let's enter a new invitation. We can simply scan it, or in this case, I will just, copy it. Let me copy it again to the clipboard. Copy it here. Okay. So once we have copied this invitation, the protocol will automatically accept from both sides the invitation, so an active connection can be established. And in this case, you can see here that from the holder one, we have an open connection with the issuer, and from the issuer, we can also see that we have this same open connection with the holder. Okay. So after this, an issuer usually can, any user can check the centralized IDs associated or stored in their SSI agents, either in their wallets or basically we have we might see some technical information that at this moment we might not be so interested on. So let me present the other probably more interesting tab where we can basically create different data models to later on create some credentials. So to create a new schema or a new data model, we have to just open this dialog and let's assume that we have this data model has a name, has a version. Actually, let me try this. And then it has some attributes, so we can provide some values for the certifications. By default, we can autocomplete some common field names, like description, name, or whatever. But we can also introduce new, non-existing fields, obviously. Once we have just created the data model, we will see here, demo CA. The version 2 of this data model that has these 3 fields: name, non-existing, and description. After creating this data model, we'll see how to claim the ownership of this data model, so we can use it to create new credentials from this SSI agent. To claim the ownership of this data model, we just click on this button, so we can select one of the many data models that we have available in this agent, and let me select the last one. Where should be? Somewhere like here. Okay, yeah. So this is the demo CA with the version 2, and let me tag it with demo 2 tag just to identify it in the list. Let's wait a little bit because it takes a little bit longer than the other operations. Right? Yeah. So, we can see this owned schema listed here. So we own this schema now. So as we own it, we can use it to create new credentials. And in the next step, in the next tab, we will create credentials for this other agent, for the holder one. Currently, in the holder one, we can see some other credentials that I have created before. So let's create a new credential from the issuer side. First of all, we need to select if we have more than one connection, or active or open connection. We need to select one of those. In this case, we will be selecting the connection that we have, well, the only connection that we have open right now, but that allows us to send these new credentials to the holder one. And well, one thing that you can see in Medina is that we autocomplete this information. We have already pre-selected this Medina ONET schema, and we basically fill this information with the updates API that Christina has just mentioned. But if we select any other schema, we will see the name of the attributes, and we can like put whatever we want, whatever values we want here. But in this case, we'll be using the Medina schema, so this information is auto-completed, and we can create this credential. Once we create this credential, it will be sent through this connection to the holder one, and if we refresh this, we will see that we have a new credential with two attributes, the ID, which is equal to 9, and a status that is equal to issuance. Okay, so once the agent holder one has this credential, the verifier might ask for some of this data that he holds. So let's connect again, but in this time to the SSA agent verifier. Let's go to the presentation. As I have shown, I have already created a connection, an invitation, and I have opened this connection between the holder one and verifier. So the verifier can request proofs to the holder. For this, once again, we select the connection. I have to give a comment so the holder can know why I need this piece of information, and I need this information for the demo. This info for the demo. Okay. So in the attributes, I have the different, well, I should specify the different fields whose value I want to reveal. And in this case, let me check the status value. And in the predicates field, I can create new ones, obviously, but sorry, oh yeah. In this case, let me, well, first of all, the predicates are a way to know whether a condition is met with the credentials of in this case, holder one, without knowing the actual value, without revealing the value. So in this case, I will check whether the identification is greater or equal than 9, which, if you remember, was 9. So if I accept this presentation request and I refresh from the presentations tab in the holder one, I will see this request, the request received, that I'm in the role of a prover. I need to prove some information that has been requested to me. So for this, I just click on the reply button. I check one of the credentials that you have seen listed here, and the interface already tells me whether each of these credentials meets the conditions that the presentation requires. So if I select this naming credential, it won't be valid to answer to this presentation request. But if I choose the Medina credential, I can see that it has a field called status, a field called ID, so I can answer to this presentation request. I click on accept, and you can see that the presentation has been sent, and now it's done. From the verifier side, I can refresh it, and you can see that it's done, that I'm in the role of the verifier, and that it has been already verified. This verification happens because the agent has verified the IDs used for this presentation with the information that it's stored in the blockchain. So that's basically how it works.